Hey there, welcome to LSAT Demon Daily. I'm Nathan Fox. That's Ben Olson. We are the founders of LSATdemon.com and our weekly podcast, Thinking LSAT. We've got an email here from Larry Levels.
Hi, Daily Team. I just started using the Demon last week and decided to take my first timed logical reasoning section. Of the first 14 questions, I missed one, a careless mistake, Larry writes. Of the last 12 questions, I missed 11.
Whoops.
Wow, okay. As silly as this sounds, I feel proud and defeated at the same time. In your eyes, what separates 1 to 3 level difficulty questions from 4 to 5 difficulty level questions? What insight do you have for me and other students who struggle with levels 4 to 5 difficulty questions?
I don't think Larry actually struggles with level 4 to 5 difficulty questions. I think that Larry probably got a little bit lucky on the first 12 questions.
14? Mm-hmm.
Oh, sorry, on the first 14 questions. I think you probably got a little bit lucky. You know, there was one that you missed. It was a careless mistake. There was probably another one where you made a similar careless mistake, but you just happened to also choose the right answer. Every question you missed indicates that there was probably another question that you didn't really understand. On the last 12 questions, I guarantee that those weren't all level 4 and level 5 difficulty questions.
Mm-hmm.
So what's happening there is you're just going way too fast. You're attempting way too many questions. You're actually repelling the correct answers. If you only got one right out of 12, that's worse than random chance.
Mm-hmm.
So all the work you put in for those 12 questions, it was ill spent. Like it was just squandered effort. You squandered all of that time. You squandered all of that effort. You actually provided negative value during all that time.
Yeah.
And it's because you're going too fast. You weren't really understanding what you were reading. So your problem, at least as reported by this particular section, your problem isn't higher difficulty questions. Your problem is going too fast and just not letting, like you're not letting yourself solve the questions. You're skimming the surface, you're half-assing it, and you're just not understanding what you're reading. I don't know. Do you want to specifically answer Larry's question, though, about what differentiates the easier ones from the harder ones?
Sure. I would say that in most cases, questions get harder, not because the underlying logic gets harder, but because the sentences that present the ideas get a little longer, a little more abstract. And so people struggle to identify exactly what each sentence says. They may identify exactly what 3 of the 4 sentences said, but misinterpreting one of the sentences or one of the answer choices or even the question itself is enough to then get that question wrong. So it goes from a right question to a wrong question. And why is that? Because you're not as good at translating English into plain English. And that's what you have to get better at. And how do you get better at that? You slow down and you do the best you can on the questions you get to so that you can practice translating correctly.
Yeah. Lots of things affect difficulty level. I mean, really, difficulty level is just based on how many people miss it.
Yep.
Right. So it's it's a level 4 or 5 because more people miss it.
Mm-hmm.
Why do people miss it? Ben gave one really good reason why people miss it, but it can be subtle things too. Like I'm pretty confident that if we did some sort of a survey, answer choice, if the correct answer is A, it's going to be more likely to be a low level difficulty question. And if the answer choice is E, it's going to be more likely to be a high level difficulty question.
Because like people get picked off. Yeah.
Yeah. Because people who do the test the wrong way, right?
Mm-hmm.
You do the test passively. You don't read the argument well enough in the first place. You don't read the question that you're being asked about that argument well enough. You don't take the time to think about it. You don't take time to attack the argument. You don't take time to make a prediction to the specific question being asked. You just dive right into the answer choices. And if the answer choice is A or B, you're more likely to get bailed out by seeing that correct answer up top.
Mm-hmm.
If the answer is C or D, or sorry, D or E, you're more likely to get picked off, as Ben says, by one of those wrong answer choices. It just takes you longer to wade through the wrong answer choices. And you might have fallen in love with A or B, not even taken the time really to read C, D, and the eventual correct answer, E.
Yeah.
So that just by itself, putting flipping, right? Like, that'd be an interesting experiment to run, actually. Like, take a hard question with the answer choice E, and then just like flip A and E.
Yeah.
Just put the right answer up top. I guarantee accuracy goes up because they read that answer before they've read a bunch of other nonsense. Now,
that
of course,
testable.
every listener is going to go, oh, okay, so at the end of the section, I should just be guessing E all the time because the questions are harder there.
Yeah.
That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that if all else is equal,
Yeah.
having the answer choice be E makes it harder. Yeah. Convoluted language, they might obfuscate the correct answer, right? There's ways that they can, you might know that they confused sufficient for necessary, but then the correct answer doesn't actually say confused as sufficient for necessary. Instead, it says something like neglects to consider that there might be locations upstate that are not in Manhattan, but are nonetheless in New York City. And it's like, whoa, I was looking for confused sufficient for necessary. Yeah, but that's one way of describing the error
mistake. Yeah.
that was in the logic. So there's ways that they can kind of hide it. They can also make wrong answers really attractive sometimes, right? By like just flipping it a little bit, like putting one word. Imagine an answer choice that sounds really good for the first 2 lines, and then right at the end of the answer,
and people
it
don't
goes off
finish
the rails.
reading it. Huge.
They've already loved it.
Yeah.
Oh, that's exactly what I was looking for. Yeah,
Yeah.
but you didn't read the whole thing because they put a poison pill in the end of it.
Yeah.
And so that answer now is wrong because of one word. They'll think it's right because of one word, but it's much more likely that it's going to be wrong because of one word. And that's one way to make hard questions. Anyway, you want to have the final word for Larry?
Just keep working on trying to understand one question at a time, not these massive takeaways for level 4 to 5 difficulty questions.
Yeah, most students, I think, hurt themselves by even giving a shit about difficulty level. I just don't think it matters. Like, even the hard ones are easy. You just have to read it carefully enough to understand what it's actually saying. The reason why you missed it is because you didn't understand it. You just didn't understand what it said.
Yeah.
And these questions are solvable on their face, right? It's not a test of knowledge. You don't have to know anything. You just have to read it carefully.
Yeah.
And do the work to solve that question. So level 4 and 5 difficulty means that it is less frequently solved. But I don't care. I care that you didn't solve it.
Yeah.
So that's why we just keep hammering on you. You have to thoroughly review every single mistake you make. And if it's level 1, I don't care. Level 5, still don't care. Just what didn't you understand? How could you have read it better so that you would have been able to solve it? You can make a level 4 or 5 difficulty question seem like a level 1 difficulty question. That happens all the time in classes, by the way.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm shocked, Ben. I'm sure you are too, where you'll do a question, you're attacking the argument, you predict the answer halfway through reading the argument, and then by the time you're done with the question, you realize that it's a level 4 or level 5 difficulty.
Yeah. Yeah.
But you didn't even see it.
Yep.
You never even saw that difficulty because you went a little slower through it. You made objections as you were reading it. And you're predicting the answer while the kids who struggle with it kind of glossed over the passage and they're just in there fighting with the answer choices. Well, yeah, that's going to make it hard.
Yep.
Thanks, Larry. Email daily@lsatdemon.com if you would like to ask us a question or share some LSAT or law school admissions news. Thanks for listening.